Hi, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. Delighted on this episode to be joined by comics creator Chris Giarrusso, who has an impressive collection of what looks to be sort of animation-inspired action figures back there. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
all the superheroes. That's our hallway of justice here in our studio.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, all immediately creates the like creative and innovative and comic-centered vibe. I really appreciate that.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
Also appreciate you jumping on because I think you're heading out the door soon to go to a con. Is that right?
How did you know that?
Well, you told me.
Oh, that okay. I was gonna say
Yeah.
because yeah, it just okay. Yes,
Yes, because our talk was originally scheduled for tomorrow, and then you said,
right.
"Oh, but I've got this thing."
Yeah, it was this last. It was like, well, I mean, not completely last minute, but they have it like I've known for a week, and the whole
Yeah.
week I thought it was Saturday, and it turns out it's a Sunday con. It's the South Carolina con.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
But like they're like send us your author photo and your and your work. And so I sent that all to him, expecting like an announcement. And I'm like looking and I'm like, they haven't said anything yet. So how do you know? Like, oh yeah, I told you.
That's right. That's right. I,
Yeah,
I can be insightful, but I'm not that clairvoyant. I'm
yeah.
quite
Well, that's how my brain operates, pretty much on that level, 24 hours a day,
nice, nice.
except when I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably a little bit higher functioning.
It works. It works. Um, So I know you for G-Man, and my goodness, you've worked in a lot of different worlds, taking on a variety of roles. So, by means of a sort of first official question, um, what is it about comics that's drawn you creatively? At what point did you go, yeah, this is the thing for me?
I think I've always been certain, since I was a little kid, I thought like that's the greatest thing. That's
Hmm.
the dream job. I started with the newspaper comic strips because that was delivered to the house for free every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Snoopy and Garfield, Calvin and Hobbes, and that kind of a thing. And graduated to superhero comic books, and I just been hooked ever since.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I never thought I had the talent to do it. So it wasn't really till I was in college that I thought like I should try to pursue a career. And even then, I didn't think I'd be on the creative side of it.
Hmm.
Excuse me. um, Hang on, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'll take a sip of coffee as well.
For those listening, it's now is your time to also drink a beverage.
It's the beverage break portion of the episode. It totally works.
Yeah. um, but yeah, so when I was in college, I got an internship at Marvel Comics, and
Hmm.
that kind of changed everything for me. I was like, oh, maybe there is somewhere I can fit in to this business.
Nice, nice. And so you've worked on a variety of Marvel characters, you've worked in a variety of spaces and creating. What draws you to a particular project?
Um, Opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Invitation.
Yeah, yeah. And again, being at Marvel, really like that was the made all the difference. The foot in the door, being in the right place at the right time. The mini Marvels happened just because the bullpen bulletins editor was like, trying to fill space, and somebody suggested like, well, Chris likes to draw stuff, comic strips. You could fill some of that space with a comic strip. So that's basically just right place at the right time. I was on staff in the production department in the bullpen. So yeah, it was just perfect timing. It's also the dream job because I loved superhero comics. So it's not like,
Mhm.
oh, I have to settle for this other thing. It was like right out of the gate. I was like golden opportunity. It's been downhill ever since. Not
Nice, nice.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is there a particular character that you've worked on that resonates with you most?
Well, G-Man is kind of, you know, patterned after my own family
Hmm. Hmm.
and me and my friends. So that's like really personal in that way. Um, but I think when people ask that question, they want to know about Hawkeye at Marvel.
Oh,
But
I mean, wherever you'd like to take it, it's
yeah, at
fine.
Marvel, I leaned into Hawkeye. I always liked Hawkeye as kind of like the you know the having the inferiority complex
Hmm.
situation around, he's like just a mere human among gods. And I kind of always like that aspect, and that he's still able to rise to their level.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but it just wound up being real easy to make humor strips out of it.
yeah, yeah. Now, going back to G-Man there, very often comics are collaborative, and so you're sort of doing one particular part or the other, but G-Man is more like you writing and doing many of the things. So curious about what that's like.
Well, really, it's the only kind of way I know, because it was like that with Marvel too.
Hmm.
In comic strips, I think historically, usually just one person doing, a few panels every day. Um, and I knew that I wasn't at the level of a professional comic book artist, so I knew I had to do it all myself. Like I couldn't really expect a professional caliber person to collaborate with me, and I wanted to develop all the skills so that I wouldn't have to rely on somebody else. So from Mini Marvels to G-Man, nothing really changed. Creatively, I was still writing it and drawing it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so you kind of had that experience going in to
Yeah,
bring your vision. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess it changed with. I'm trying to think, the first time I worked with a writer was probably with Art and Franco on a book called Encounter that we did with at Lion Forge.
Hmm. Hmm.
And kind of at the same time, I was working on Hashtag Danger at Ahoy Comics, written by Tom Pyre, and that was the first time I really like worked off of somebody else's writing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're kind of pretty much like-minded with all those guys, so it was a really good fit and a lot of fun. And my latest project is Officer Clawsome,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is written by Brian Smith. So it's actually been a while since I've written my own stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask next about collaborators and mentors. So it sounds like we're heading nicely in that direction with Art, Franco, Tom Pyre.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Any other names you'd mention there and shout out?
well, I think your the list of questions you gave me in advance, had me thinking back to like my early Marvel days.
Hmm.
And as an intern, I was lucky enough to be in the office of Kelly Corvese, was the editor on the What If comics.
Hmm. Hmm.
And at the time, Klaus Janson was working on an issue of What If, and I wasn't even. I mean, that's how dumb I was. I didn't realize like this is a living legend
Right.
walking in here, and he was also teaching classes at I think SVA, yeah, at SVA in New York City, and right, he just naturally was just like, all right, let's let's talk, let's figure you out, like let me. So he basically, he took me to lunch one day and gave me all kinds of advice and said, here's what you need to think about. Here's, you should stop using these garbage pens that you're using to make this stuff. And you really, helped me level up, when I was at like ground zero.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he's always been a great guy to talk to and touch base with. And, he's just, that's just, that's who he is. He's a teacher and a, legendary creator.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then after Marvel, to get G-Man cooking, it was Eric Larson that really played a big role.
Hmm.
He was, enjoyed my style of humor with the mini Marvels, and he traditionally likes to fill the back pages of his Savage Dragon comic with lots of, any kind of other extra bonus creative content.
Hmm.
So he had comic strip content in there before, and he invited me to contribute, and that's when I started the G-Man comics.
Yeah.
And then, from there it was okay. Now, instead of just pages of strips, like do a full comic, do collected editions.
Hmm.
So those are the big two that really helped. Art and Franco also, they're they kind of hit with their Tiny Titans.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
Maybe a few years after Mini Marvels had kind of been a thing, and and a lot of people, when the big announcement was made, Tiny Titans is coming, and they're doing this Tiny Titans thing. Uh, a lot of people had this reaction like I should be upset by that, like oh they're stealing that's your gimmick, they're stealing your. I'm like, no, that I'm not the first guy to do that, and
Right.
and I'd known their stuff for a while, and I was these guys are great. So if anything, they're wired the same way as me,
Hmm.
and so when I met them, we hit it off, and they've been kind of like big brother type guys to me, and
Nice.
uh and it was great to finally actually work together with them on that Encounter project too.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Franco
Yeah,
was on a few episodes ago, and I need to reach back out to Art and say, hey, hey, stop by.
you gotta say,
Um,
oh yeah, man.
that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
So you are literally on your way out the door at some point soon, I think, to go to South Carolina. Um,
Well,
Curious
I
about.
have a few hours, so
Oh, good, good, good.
we don't have to cut out of this so soon.
Okay, good, good.
Unless you're trying to, take this to its final end point.
Not at all, not
If
at
you
all.
want to kick me off of this podcast, that's fine. I get it.
No,
It's not
no,
the first time I've
you're
been kicked
welcome.
off a podcast.
You're totally
Was it my
welcome.
foul language or was it my foul stench?
Well, I would say I'm just jealous of the action figure collection, I think. No, no, just curious about anything you would want to share about like kind of go-to convention spaces is where I was going to go with that. But you're welcome to hang out. It worked.
um, so what anything about what's the question exactly? About conventions?
Sort of like go-to convention spaces, spaces where people can connect and meet you and check things
Well,
out.
this is going to be the first time I've gone to a convention since before COVID.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's been a while for me. So there's not a lot, and there's nothing else planned beyond this show tomorrow. Um, so I'm sorry, I have nothing.
No, it's good. It's good. I heard that a bunch of people just got back from New York with COVID, and so I think
Yeah.
it's time to normalize like Bane masks at conventions.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll be wearing a mask tomorrow. It's definitely something that's I have anxiety about.
No,
New York Comic Con, I don't know if you've ever been there,
I haven't. No.
but they're very efficient at packing like 700 million people into a very small space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and it's like 4 or 5 days. So it's I guess like a high viral viral count or whatever, like the
Yeah.
viral load
Yes.
probably pretty heavy there. So I'm feeling good at least about this show tomorrow. It's just a 1 day show. I'll be masking up. Hopefully I can escape without any trouble. I might just sit outside and just and just work out there.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Well, sending the good health vibes there, and curious about what's next in the creative journey. You were talking about a project just a bit ago.
Yeah, so Officer Clawsome is the series I've been working on. The first book came out earlier this year, I think in February, and I just finished the second book, and that'll be out in April of 2024. And it's a lot of pages,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just been it's like a marathon. I've been working on it all year. I'm done now, and so I have nothing planned, and I'm right now in my current state. I don't think I ever want to draw anything ever again, but I just need a little bit of recovery time. So there's nothing big planned. I do a weekly webcomic, G-Man webcomics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's always something that keeps me working on something,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I should be doing some sketching tomorrow.
So you're talking about the G-Man comic strip. Curious about, or webcomic, curious about where folks can go to check out the continued work.
You can see that at chrisgiarrusso.com. and the webcomic is also carried at gocomics.com,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, along with 1 million other comic strips.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
popular spot.
yeah.
And now I'm curious about the action figure from your wall. That is the prized action figure.
Oh, like which one I prize above all others, you mean?
Yeah.
Are you singling one out?
Oh no, no. I'm asking your most prized one. I see lots of variants of Batman back there. Looks like
There's
some
lots
Green
of
Lantern core.
honestly, it's probably maybe I can show you. I can flip the camera around on this. Here we go.
Oh wow, there are more.
Maybe more like this
Uh,
stuff.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm also a big Transformers fan.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
catching some of the blister packs behind you there.
See, I got my original Optimus Prime
Nice.
here. Yeah. Is this what you were here we go.
Yeah.
The cassette bots.
I
But yeah,
remember the cassettes.
it's a wild studio.
What a wonderful studio space. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's all of our there's four other guys here with me in the studio space. So it's our collective childhoods on steroids in
Nice.
this space.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing the studio space. Anything that you want to make sure to mention before we close out the episode? Any upcoming? We have South Carolina, so sending good vibes there for a nice experience. And yeah, any other projects, pieces of
Um,
information you'd want to share before we close?
please buy Officer Clawsome, especially if you're a teacher, librarian, a parent. You know, it's great for middle grade readers,
Hmm.
reluctant
Hmm.
readers. It's a great fun. Brian Smitty Smith, Smitty wrote a great fun adventure thing. It's like a buddy cop story, lots of explosions and fun humor. Um, Officer Clawsome is a police officer underwater. His partner is a starfish that he kind of wears as his police badge. So it's
Nice,
they're
nice.
they're equal partners, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, so please get that, give it to a kid, and get them reading our stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I taught middle grades for 8 years, so you're speaking my language with connecting readers to the books and things. So I love that. Yeah. And thanks for the
Awesome.
work that you're doing in that too. That's definitely big stuff.
Well, thank you for supporting, and thanks for having me here to talk about it and help put the spotlight on it. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Glad to talk with you anytime. And wishing you safe travels. And oh, is that a Skeletor back there? There's just so much.
All
Yeah. Well, thanks again.
right. Thank you.